Inside the Androscoggin Bank Coliseum, alongside Dave Wing, I'm Caleb Lamb as we get set for the second game in our doubleheader in boys ice hockey, the Class A North Regional Semifinals, and this one a good rivalry matchup between the two inner-city foes. The two schools based in Auburn, Edward Little, the public school, St. John's, the private school. And these two teams squaring off for the third time this season. It's usually a good rivalry when you get these two teams involved. They split the two meetings, and Dave, we had an awesome final regular season meeting between these two squads over at the Norway Savings Bank Arena a month ago. A 3-2 overtime win for EL, and not much to choose between these two teams. They both have good strengths. Edward Little better scoring, but St. John's has one heck of a goaltender.
Yeah, I think he's been the difference when they've played. When St. John's has played this year, Fuchs has been the difference, and we've already seen the difference that Norm Gagne's made in Edward Little. Pretty much same kids from last year, and they really have improved a lot, and I would expect them to continue to improve with him as their coach.
Gaston Fuchs is the netminder there that you made mention of, the young junior transfer student from the Czech Republic, exchange student I should rather say there. And on the other side of the ice for St. Dom's, their scoring has been very much by committee. Dominic Chassey's been involved when he's been healthy, but the biggest thing for them has been players that they've been missing. Mac Pelletier has missed games through suspension, the captain, and missing Will Fletcher, who picked up 3 game misconducts on the season. He was the leading scorer in the regular season for this team. It's a pretty big blow, and one that they'll have to try and find a way to fight through and overcome. On the other side, Edward Little, as you talked about, led by Norm Gagne in his first year as the head coach of this team, but the winningest head coach in Maine high school hockey history. He knows how to get it done, including a couple years ago. Before this Lewiston run of 2 titles in a row, he had the Red Storm of Scarborough taking down a very talented St. Dom's team in the title game back in 2015. He'd like to guide his alma mater to a victory here, one that would help show the steps that this team has taken after struggling last year.
I talked to him a while ago, just before he took the job. He said he was going to look at it and whatever. I think that Scarborough lost their rink and ended up playing here. And as he said, boy, you got to come up every night on the bus to practice and then head back. And he said it just was a lot of that I didn't need. And they had a little job opened up, and it's back, like you said, to his alma mater, and he was excited about, at that time, the possibility of getting the job. I said, Norm, what, you think they're not going to hire you, Norm? What? I think you can put that one away, buddy.
He has been a coach that's been around the block. He's coached the Lewiston team, coached at Waterville for a number of years, Scarborough.
Gardner.
He's been all over the place.
He started at Gardner, and I talked to him about that because I was at Skowhegan. And he said that he was the freshman football coach, and that's what he really wanted to do. And they said, we need somebody to do assistant hockey. And he said, I got started on it. I love it. I was a hockey player. And he said, next thing I know, I'm the head coach on my way. So that he didn't really start out saying, I want to be a hockey coach. I mean, I think he wanted to be a coach and a teacher and a coach, and that's what he's done.
Well, these two teams going through their warm-ups here. On the other side of the bench, Bobby Parker in his 3rd year at the helm of this program after taking over from Steve Follett, trying to help get this team through and perhaps over the hump where they've run into trouble either against Lewiston or EL in the tournament these last couple of years. And now a matchup against the Red Eddies where the winner has the chance to play to go to the state title game. They'll have to go through the Blue Devils, who we saw came up with a victory over Bangor, the number 4 seed in the game right before this, with a 5-2 victory.
I wonder through the years, I mean, I've never really talked to anybody about it, but all 3 teams, local teams, used to share this rink. And then when St. Dom's, when Edward Little got their own rink.
Back when they closed up the old Ingersoll arena.
Yeah, when Ingersoll was in effect. And then all of a sudden, because before that, kids had a choice. You can go to EL, they play here anyway, and the things are stacked against them. Or you can go to St. Dom's or Lewiston. Those are your choices. And so many kids picked St. Dom's. We've seen the banners. There are numerous state championships. And then suddenly they have their own rink, and kids start coming home. and suddenly St. Dom's isn't quite as strong consistently as we've seen them through the years. So I'm sure there's more to it than that, but that, for me, that's the basis of it, I think. And it's allowed all three teams to be pretty equal now, I think.
Well, as they go through the introductions here, we'll step aside for a quick timeout. When we come back, we will have puck drop. Edward Little, the number 2 seed. St. Dom's, the number 3. Boys Regional semifinal action coming up next here on MBR.org and 105.5 Maine's Big Z. At the Andrix-Scoggin Bank Coliseum alongside Dave Wing, I'm Caleb Lamb as we get underway here in our second match of the doubleheader. The St. Dom's Saints, the number 3 seed in Class A North, against Edward Little, their Auburn City rivals, the number 2 seed. Edward Little dressed in the home whites as the lower seed. St. Dom's in the full black uniforms with the school crest up on their chest. As we are underway with Edward Little going from left to right into the zone they come, and the puck only dragged as far as that right point before it's sent around to the near side boards. St. Dom's with an 8-8-2 record, 500 on the season. Edward Little 11-6-1 as a shot from Ben Cassidy held up high by Gaston Fuchs. So the junior goaltender, 3 shutouts on the year and a .940 save percentage. A big part of the reason why this St. Dom's team, while they were able to score 50 goals, held teams to just 35, and at times St. Dom's struggling to score, especially against the tougher teams that they've fought. They've scored a lot of goals against some of the weaker opposition on their schedule, But Dave, that might be the only thing that's stopping this team. If they can give some goal support to Gaston Fuchsa, they could be a title contender.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. They could just as easily be in the finals because they have the goaltending, and that is a difference maker in the playoffs.
Dominic Chassis from the right wing corner in the offensive zone for St. Thomas takes it off the boards, fires a shot, just missing past the sophomore Gavin Toussaint, younger brother of Noah Toussaint, the former captain of St. Thomas last season, and the man who took over as the starting goaltender this year, midway through the season, replacing Ben Feldman in between the pipes for this Red Eddie squad. Dumped in, but catching a piece of the bench of Edward Little on the way by was that dump from Hunter Hughes, and it looks like they will place the face-off just outside the defensive end at the near dot. On for the draw, Reed Chapman, the sophomore for Edward Little, will go up against Mac Pelletier, the senior and lone senior player on this squad for St. Thomas, and the captain, who was third on the team in scoring 6 goals. This one cleared up, but not out of the zone as it's dumped in from Chapman. He goes in after it behind the net. Carried around to the near side boards by Gage Doucette. Got up to the point. Kane lost control. It did cross the blue line, and so delayed offside gives Pelletier room to get that one on for it to be dumped in deep from Ryan Davis. Lucas Pichard, the freshman forward. Very young St. Thomas team. Both these teams a lot of inexperience in building years for both of them, but one that has ended with both of them reaching this semifinal game. St. Thomas having to do it through the qualifier where they got through the Grey New Gloucester squad. On the other end, Edward Little earning the free pass to the semifinal round, courtesy of finishing ahead of the triumvirate of schools, St. Thomas and Bangor, who were right there with him in the regular season. Back to the point for a drive from Jack Willette, first-year forward, stinging the blocker side of Toussaint, as this one's knocked back to center. Willette had it knocked away from him. 2-on-1 down low. Logan Alexander to the far side, but the shot was taken by Cassidy. Right pad stop from Fuchsa. Talking with Norm Gagne before the game, he talks about how with Fuchsa, you cannot just shoot him and expect to beat him one-on-one. Have to set screens, have to go for rebounds, and have to change the angle of the shot. That's the way that Edward Little was able to bounce back for a 3-2 overtime win in the second meeting with them after getting outshot and shut out 4-0 in the earlier season meeting. 2-on-1 again developing, but not able to get the puck for Alexander as the second line center has done a great job this year with third high points total of 14 on the season. Played around at center ice. Dylan Campbell will shoot in the direction of Eli Thibodeau, broken up, and Pelletier, or check that rather, Jack Willette leading the rush up ice. Wolverton back to his own corner.
A little sloppy, so to speak, as we started.
Looking like they need to settle in, I think, Dave.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Not passes that are crisp or tape to tape, as another one's dumped in deep, and the first 3 minutes gone in this hockey game. Jacob Lewis, outlet pass, and he finds his man for a one-on-one rush, but Hunter Hughes has it jammed off his stick right over the blue line. Ben Gosselin risked that in deep. A little bit of trouble there for Aaron Kane, senior defenseman. Lost it in between his skate, and it ends up deflected out of play over behind the St. Thomas bench.
And again, we saw that in the first game. Those plays where you're in your own zone and you chip it out to nobody really at center ice, and it goes the other team. Against good teams, you just can't do that. They get the puck too much.
Face off just over at the far dot, outside the Edward Little end, and they push back Cam Sturgis, the sophomore forward, before they drop it. Controlled back from Wolverton to Gosselin. The junior defenseman wheeling this one himself. He'll dump it in off the left wing boards. Ends up behind the Edward Little net, where it's picked up there by Dylan Campbell. Nice move, as he will start it ahead. Sophomore defenseman, got a lot of playing time last year as a freshman on the varsity squad. And what ended up being a rebuilding year for Edward Little. Norm Gagne coming in, taking over as head coach, and trying to help this team gain some respectability a little bit back and also get back on the right track. He didn't expect that his team might be able to finish as a number 2 seed, but this is a nice bonus. And he said if they can get to the regional final, that would just help his team see that with the results and the work that they've been doing, that it's paid off for them and that they are going in the right direction. That can be just as important as being able to say it as a coach. When you have the results to back it up, kids tend to buy in a little bit more.
Yeah, no question. Not a very good change by Yale. They had left no defenseman out there, and the puck was at center ice.
Physical shift there as both players on the defensive side came in for a couple of hits. Puck played down low for Jaden Webster. Could only deflect it wide of the post. Only 3 combined shots so far, 2 for Edward Little, 1 from St. Dom's as we are through the first 5 minutes of our first period. Webster behind the net. Hit coming to him from Chapman. Turned it over for Gage Doucette. Webster tracks him down. He has to pass back to his own end. Puck played off in the direction of Morneau. Couldn't get it out. Turned over. Chance for a wrist shot. Redirected. Oh, and Pelletier smashed it wide on the rebound after Zach Pelletier's shot was redirected off the right pad of Toussaint. Big hit delivered against Morneau. Zach Pelletier hit from behind, and he is down and hurt. Reed Chapman. Oh, and that's going to draw some angry folks. Morneau getting the brunt of it. Chapman just took a run at the young sophomore forward. Zach Pelletier, second on the team in scoring with 8 goals, and he got decked from behind and fell at an awkward angle into the boards. This could be a well-deserved 5-minute major here.
Yeah, I haven't seen the signal for what they're asking.
Referees conferencing together at center ice, and we'll see what the sign is.
That's almost a game changer if it's 5 minutes. It really, or even a 4 minute and you can't come out. It means that you are really behind the 8 ball.
Zach Pelletier being examined by the trainer. He is back onto his knees and evidently feeling a little bit better. But for a St. Dom's team that's been missing players, they've been beset by injuries and not a deep roster to begin with. Announcing the penalty here, but
yeah,
hitting from behind penalty, but can't hear what the time is over the PA system. Not the best quality.
Sometimes that's a game misconduct.
Pelletier back to his skates and being helped over to the bench area. Still, the time has not been put on the board, and now it is a 5-minute major that we see. So the penalty, as you heard the coach Dave Wing mention there, does not expire even if a goal is scored. It'll be a 5-minute power play until the time comes to an end. Opposite reaction to what we saw in the last meeting between these two teams when it was Mac Pelletier, the captain for St. Dom's, who picked up a 5-minute major early in the first period of that contest. Roles reversed here. Shot on from Chassis as we get things going. And in and out of the glove of Toussaint, it's cleared by Edward Little. BL wasn't able to make much hay with that 5-minute major in their game. St. Dom's will try and make the most of theirs here as Mac Pelletier comes to pick this one up. Edward Little back on their heels a little bit in the early going. Puck came in off the skates of the linesman. Pelletier got through it. It's knocked away a couple of times, but did not exit the zone. Wolverton from the left point shoots it across. Chassis from the high slot. Wolverton, top of the left wing circle, looking to shoot it, but he lost control, and it's cleared. Derek Wolverton, the freshman defenseman, part of 6 first-year players on this varsity squad. He has to whack it in the direction of his captain, the lone senior Mac Pelletier, who carries it in. Absorbs the big hit. Able to keep possession of the puck, though. Lewis, Wolverton had it bounce off his stick and knocked back to center ice.
Yale isn't letting anybody go by than not hitting him, I'll tell you that.
Chassis rounds a man to the goal line. His shot off the shoulder of Toussaint. Came back in front. Chassis, backhand shot, put it wide, and he'll go and get his own rebound for a second time. Cleared up and past Silly, though, and this one will rattle all the way down. Fuchs are waiting for it at the goal line, but it'll stop for Gosselin to take out of the corner. Minute and a half of the 5-minute major. Hitting from behind penalty against Reed Chapman has been served. 8 minutes to go in this first period. Scoreless game in our 2 versus 3 seed meeting. The Auburn City rivals St. Dom's and Edward Little. Silly from the left point goes across. Saucer pass, difficult for Gosselin. Played it all the way around. Campbell gets in there. Knocked away. Silly wanted to go in after it, retreats to the blue line and stops it there. Bounced it off the boards, but it came nicely. Pelletier blocked it on the first clear. He didn't realize it was at his feet, and so it's cleared again, this time to center. Silly angled it for Webster. He missed it. Back for Michael Silly. Top pairing defenseman, one of their bigger bodies on the ice. One of their lone upperclassmen. Or excuse me, I should say the lone upperclassman with it right now, Gosselin, who sends it across. Sophomore defenseman, Silly, down low, and Toussaint able to find that. Gosselin did a nice job to follow his play to the front of the net. Just couldn't come up with that bouncing puck as it squirted through a pair of skates.
Yeah, nice job by Toussaint to also to focus on the puck because there are people flying around all over the place.
Zach Pelletier evidently feeling good enough to come into the contest here. He'll come in for this draw and wins the faceoff, shooting it behind the Edward Little net. Webster knocked down in the corner. Puck played up and around, but was fanned on the clearing effort by Eli Thibodeau. Campbell, Webster throws the body into him. Puck squirmed free, but again, just won't settle down for the Saints as it's knocked aside by Jacob Lewis. 3-a-side battle behind the net, 3v1 battle, I should say, as Campbell just doing a good job of killing clock down there. Alex Landry, rather, the defenseman, who's trying to free that one up in between his skates and doing a good job of killing seconds.
Terrific job.
Finally, it's taken free by Webster. From the goal line, he'll drive in, shot sealed off, and Toussaint covers. 6:38 to go, down to 2 minutes remaining in the major penalty against Reed Chapman. And the Saints have not been able to create many looks here. No shots from the open angle.
It's interesting, there's somebody serving it with him, which means what? He's got a game misconduct?
Well, so with a major penalty that, yes, he will probably not be coming out of the box as the penalty time expires.
Oh, 10-minute major, maybe 10-minute penalty.
Which would mean he's got to wait in the box for that longer time, even though they won't be shorthanded during that stretch. Off the face-off, this one goes back to the right point. Willette, nice job to swing back with it. He shimmies it across to the far side. Shot on, Toussaint the glove. Hangs on to that effort.
Boy, we've seen some good goaltending tonight, haven't we already? First game, a lot of good goaltending from Jacob Henry, and we know Fuchs is going to give us a great show, and Toussaint's been equal to the task so far.
He's had 6 saves to make on this power play, and he's gotten through 3 minutes and 13 seconds of it. This one sent back to the point. Willette tried to kick it, couldn't stop it from passing the blue line. Resets to Wolverton at center. In for Hughes. Down the left wing boards, he'll shoot it there. Landry in after it. Bodies bumped together there. Wolverton shimmied around behind. Landry trying to clear. Stopped by Willette. 1 goal for the freshman this season. It came as a game tire against Edward Little in their most recent meeting back on January 31st. Sent through the slot area, missed everyone. Reset to Wolverton. Puts it across. Willette to the goal line. Back from Chassis. Minute and 8 seconds remaining in the time. Still, they're just putting the puck around the zone, not shooting it. Wolverton able to keep that one in with a left skate. He fires. Toussaint, a little trouble with it. Lewis trying to find it on the boards. Sturgis gets it free and clears to center. Willette pushes the pace quickly. Chassis makes a move down low, stops in the corner. Lost a glove, and he's got one hand free, and he still has it. Going for the shot. Toussaint the save. Rebound loose, and it's cleared. Willette, 38 seconds left in the power play time. 5:15 to go in the first. Shot from distance. Blocked. Rebound. Loose. Toussaint had it under his glove. Still free. Save again. And the rebound swept away.
Wow.
Fuchs charges out of his net, and he lofts it back on looking for Chassis. Missed it. Thibodeau dumping it deep. Final 15 seconds of the power play time coming off.
Boy, it's a killer if you don't get something on a 5-minute major.
The man who drew the penalty, Zach Pelletier, coming in. 5 seconds left. Sends it across, but no one went to the right point. It was Gosselin. He'll rifle it in deep. We're back to 5-on-5 with 4.5 to go in the period. Pass got through into the offensive end for Edward Little. From their own zone, Gosselin for St. Thomas. Pass ahead, missed Webster. No icing though. Campbell gets away from one behind the net. He dodges Mac Pelletier. Silly stopped it at center. Campbell got it back. Dylan Campbell, the defenseman, puts on the brakes, rounds the body check from Jaden Webster very nicely, but taken away by Mac Pelletier.
That would have hurt if he hit him.
Pelletier gets it away from the stick check of Marno and will shoot it in. Campbell. Marno, his effort redirected back into the zone. And there's a little bit of hitting being dialed up in behind the play as Zach Pelletier exchanging some shoves. Dumped in, and a little bit of trouble there for Fuchs. He has to come across and cover it up. And he takes a little spray of snow in the face with 3:43 to go.
I think the intensity's up where it's supposed to be in this game right away.
Feels like a playoff game.
Didn't see it in the first game like this. These two teams are pretty well pumped. And a lot of passes hitting opposing skaters and staying in the zone and things like that. We didn't see much of that the first game.
Two teams that don't really like each other either, as this one's carried up down the right wing boards by Phelan. He will send it deep. Lucas Pichard trying to get in around Aaron Kane. Kane shimmies past him, swings the puck over to the far side corner for Landry from behind his own net. He lofts it clear, palmed up into the air by Davis, and that one is ruled as a hand pass.
Well, not only do we have a private school involved, we have a private school that's in your town, which makes it double dip.
I mean, it certainly adds to things, especially when you've sort of got the big brother, little brother mentality in terms of the success level. St. Dom's, most successful program in Maine hockey high school history. But Edward Little has had their moments, those back-to-back state championships in 03 and 04, led by current Lewiston head coach Jamie Bello. But St. Dom's, they've been the ones who have been starved of a title as of late, as Fuchsa covers up a errant pass just above his crease.
Yes, I was here when they lost the state championship to Scarborough, Norm Gagne Scarborough, when in overtime a kid out front took a slap shot and hit a skater right in front of him off his pads, and boom, right out in front, breakaway, winning goal. So
very talented and senior-laden team that was for St. Dom's. As a penalty picked up off the face-off here. It's a hook as Fuchsa covered up at the side of the net. And it's Mac Pelletier, the captain, who takes it. He'll go to the box. It's the first power play of the game for Edward Little after their penalty kill unit did the work, killing off a 5-minute major from Reed Chapman.
And you told me Pelletier, as you followed him, has had some of those issues, right? Penalty issues?
Pelletier has been the man to normally end up in the box, a very physical forward for this St. Dom's squad, and tries to lead by example as the lone senior on the squad doing the hard work. As a shot from the point did not get through from Dylan Campbell.
As I recall, the issue that EL has had too is the offense is nothing special.
They've been able to score 53 goals over the course of the season, but leading scorer for them, 15 goals from Eli Thibodeau, drops off quite a bit from there as the shot rises too high off the glass. Both these teams very much scoring by committee, though, and a few more goals deposited in the back of the net from Edward Little. Fuchsa makes sure this one doesn't. He had to cover up at the side of the net there, and Ben Gosselin got crashed into his net, and that meant that Thibodeau needed to pay the price, so someone came and decked him from behind.
I'll never forget, that's how my kids got exposed to hockey. The midget national championships used to be here all the time, and we used to come and watch, and boy, that was all you saw. Anybody got even near the goaltender, they were going down.
Jacob Lewis off the face-off, wins it back to the point here. Hockey players very protective of their goaltenders, which the masked men usually appreciate, as Toussaint will just stop this one that's cleared all the way down on goal. Campbell circles back behind the net. Only 2:20 remaining in this first period. Still scoreless as this puck takes a deflection, nearly forced as a turnover by Lewis. He touches the clearance again, and from center ice, Hughes trying to get it over the blue line. Lewis backhands it in, but couldn't possess. Wheeled through center. Up the far side boards. Dropped by Cassidy, but that was ill-advised. He didn't get very much of a touch on that one.
Really poor passing by EL on this power play. They just haven't done anything with it.
Then Lane Robichaud with 40 seconds remaining in the man advantage. Gets his own nice move as he played the puck in the direction of a teammate. Bounced back to him. He circles around wide. Fires! Missed the net. Back to the near point it comes. Alex Landry at the right side. Blasts one. Stopped in front by Jack Willett. And he gets it clear. 24 seconds remaining on the penalty time. Well, goals hard to come by from both these squads. Norm Gagne runs his system he's been doing for 30-odd years. That has the same forecheck. Players that crash and go hard. He'll run his 3 lines. St. Dom's with that excellent goaltending. Very tough to score on. And this one could very well come down to who scores first. Cleared long to end the penalty time with just more than a minute remaining. Gosselin takes the dump in back to his own zone. Up the right wing boards. Pass finds Chassie. He's turned into his own bench. Dumped in deep. Fuchsa will stop it there. Wolverton has a look up. Lost the puck, but able to kick it back to himself. Pushes it past Marneau. And Zach Pelletier sends it in for Gosselin. Up the middle. Hits Mac Pelletier in stride. 38 seconds to go. Pelletier to the deke. To the forehand. Off the side of the net. Picked up behind the net by Cam Audette. To the right point. Wolverton able to keep it there. Back to Mac Pelletier. He'll blast one. Blocked off Gunnar Winslow standing in front of it. 22 seconds to go. Zach Pelletier passes down low. Gunnar Winslow blocked it, and he clears, icing with 14.6 seconds to play.
I see what you mean about Pelletier. He gets a hit on pretty much everybody.
Not a huge body, but when you're that lone senior player, you usually feel a little bit of responsibility.
Sure.
Set the tempo, show players how to do things the right way, and you need a physical player, someone who knows how to do it. He certainly takes his share of penalties, but gets a chance in here to score. Glove save from Toussaint as a puck caromed off the side, and it was just swept to Pelletier like magic. A lane to the net opened up, and Toussaint had to reach with the glove to stop the first goal with 9.5 seconds left. Mac Pelletier saw that twine and was envisioning a goal.
His first 3-bell save, that was fantastic.
Back to the point for Silly. He's just going to dump this one with 4 seconds left. It squirms to center ice. Shot and on goal and almost went in as Landry put his skate in the way and just turned it around the post. Oh my, that would have been quite the way to end a period. But the period does end without any goals scored. 0 showing on each side of the clock. 14 shots from St. Dom's, but not a lot to say about how these teams have played so far. Still some sloppy hockey. The 5-minute power play helped up that total. This one's still very much up for grabs. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll break down the first period for you. Nothing doing after 15 minutes between the 2 and the 3 seeds. St. Dom's and Edward Little in a boys hockey regional semifinal. You're watching it on MBR.org and listening to it on 105.5 Maine's Big Z.
Falmouth Orthopedic Center. Central Maine Orthopedics. OA Centers for Orthopedics. All playing on the same team. Maine's top orthopedic practices have joined forces for more efficient and affordable orthopedic care. Introducing Spectrum Orthopedics.
Winter People Athletics creates custom athletic apparel, including team uniforms and spirit wear. They support team sports programs by offering a variety of clothing and other merchandise which can be personalized with team logos, player numbers and names, and various other options. They can also provide innovative custom screen printing and embroidered apparel to create fun and engaging fan and booster items to sell for your team fundraising efforts. Call Steve Haynes, athletic apparel consultant, at 207-869-6019 or online at winterpeople.com.
Look, I get it. We all got snowed in last week. You're just now getting shoveled out. And when somebody mentions something to you about summer camps, your only thought is, can I go to it right now so that I don't have to deal with the snow anymore? Totally get that. However, this February vacation week, if you're home with your kids, there is one thing that you're going to remember. If you don't have something for your kids to do, you're going to be in for a long summer. Registration is now open for University of Southern Maine's summer camps. They've got basketball, they've got soccer, they've got ice hockey, and they have a ton more. I haven't even scratched the surface on this. Find the registration links now. Go to usm.maine.edu. That's usm.maine.edu and search summer camps, or find the links right now at mbr.org. And maybe get them in shape for some of these summer camps by letting them shovel off the roof or something like that. Or the deck. Or the car. Or maybe the big wheel. Either way. University of Southern Maine summer camps, where kids should spend the summer.
Oh,
All aboard MBR.org, the place to get all your high school and amateur sports news and information. MBR.org is in high gear with Maine high school winter sports. Go to MBR.org to chat about your favorite team. Find the latest articles, travel news, and cancellations, or visit their all-new and very popular team pages. MBR.org has everything you want to know about high school and amateur sports in Maine. Coming in February, all the high school tournament action at your fingertips 24/7. It's high school sports heaven. All aboard MBR.org.
Back inside the Androscoggin Bank Coliseum, alongside Dave Wing, I'm Caleb Lamb. We are at our first intermission between our number 2 and number 3 seeds in our second game of the doubleheader. And a good game it's shaping up to be so far, as we've got a no-score game, a scoreless tie, 0-0. Shots on goal might be 14-5 in favor of St. Thomas, but a lot of those coming from a 5-minute major penalty against Reed Chapman that the St. Thomas Saints were unable to capitalize on. On the other side, Edward Little need to work on their passing, I'd say, would be the biggest thing. It looks like it's just been a hot potato of a puck. Neither team's really been able to settle it down. They've mostly created chances by just having a deflected puck end up behind a defenseman, and they get to it first.
Yeah, EL has fired pucks off St. Dom's legs and whatever, right back into their own zone. 3 times on that major, they had plenty of opportunity to get it out, fired it right at somebody, and it didn't clear the zone. So those are the kind of mistakes that normally would cost you a goal. I think St. Dom's hasn't been quite as proficient offensively as they used to be. And the 14-5 goals, shots on goal, tell you a lot. Means that really Edward Little has not mounted any offense at all. Really,
chances they have created haven't been too bad. A couple of looks at the side of the net on their own power play that they had in that first period. But as Norm Gagne put it pretty good before the game today, talking about how Gaston Fuchs is a goaltender that you can't beat straight on. You're going to have to create plenty of chances, and you're going to have to set that traffic in front. And right now, neither team's been able to do that against either of these goaltenders. Gavin Toussaint's been tested from the tight angles down low, and that last second shot with 9.5 on the clock was his first real test in front, where he came up with an answer on the glove save. But really, neither of these offenses has looked like they're in form right now against either of these two defenses. I think we're in for a low-scoring game that may be a 1-0 or a 2-1 contest when all's said and done.
You know, we talked about the Saints having one senior. Edward Little has
4 seniors on their roster in total that they end up playing, but really this is not a super experienced team themselves, with Kane and Landry on the back end and their lone senior forward Eli Thibodeau, who's done the work offensively. And both these teams are kind of looking to grow. This was a year where they weren't expecting to contend for the title.
No, I don't think anybody expected Edward Little to be number 2.
And they've come out and shocked a lot of people. And if you're going to get the opportunity, why not go and take it, even if it may not be the year that you're going to be as good as, say, the next season around.
Yeah, I think they're playing fairly smart other than the 5-minute major. Like I say, their passing hasn't been anything great so far. They've been pretty sloppy. I think they cleaned that up a little bit and challenged St. Dom's in their own zone. They haven't had much zone time. If they can get some zone time and challenge St. Dom's, you know, like you said, get some bodies in front of Fuchs, maybe they can get a tip in or get one in. On the other side, St. Dom's got some speed. They don't have any size, and EL is considerably bigger. Much more physical, and sometimes that can wear a team down, so that in the third period or in overtime, if it goes to that, you gain an advantage. What EL needs to do is be smart about their hitting and checking, and not make it so they're in the penalty box.
It's playoff hockey. We're going to see at least one goal in this contest, and curious to see how it's going to end up. And of course, the winner of this game moves on to play Lewiston, the number 1 seed. The Blue Devils, the defending state champions the last 2 years in a row, will contest the regional final next week. And
can't remember, it's going to be
a good game.
Tuesday or Wednesday. Don't remember which one it is. South is one night, and West and North is the other, and then, or maybe it's B. I don't know.
Then next weekend they'll go ahead and battle it out.
For the states next weekend. The regional championships either Tuesday or Wednesday.
And both these teams would be making a case that they'd like to be the chance to play spoiler to that three-peat bid from the Lewiston Blue Devils.
Absolutely. No, that'd be a feather in your cap, wouldn't it?
Absolutely, for both these programs, just to kind of put the other players on notice that they are still to be reckoned with, and whoever survives this game, they're going to have another rivalry game to get fired up for when they play Lewiston in their own little version of the Battle of the Bridge. St. Dom's 14-5, the shots on goal in their favor. And it's looked like some of these younger players that we've seen taking steps up all year long might be rounding into form, that they don't look overshadowed or in awe of this big stage here in the playoffs. Dominic Chassie, young player in particular, he's gone right to the front of the net. Jack Willette logging a ton of time. The freshman defenseman who's been not too shy to pinch in and try to keep pucks alive. That's what you'd want to see if you're Bobby Parker, to know that these players that you've relied on and given the minutes to all season long have reaped the benefits of that extra ice time.
Yeah, you take a young team, and what you want them to do is, you're not expecting them to grow in leaps and bounds. You're expecting them to be incremental and consistent and to your the way you want it done. And I would say that both of these coaches, maybe Yale's taken pretty big strides this year, being number 2. But again, I think we have to look at what's out there. Bangor has been anywhere from 2 through 4 in the heel points. They were 2 for really more than half the season, dropped down when they lost a couple late games. And then after that, after those first 5 or 6, it was pretty thin after that. And they're the cooperative team where their enrollment puts them up there where they're playing in Class A, but they're not what you call a traditional Class A program. Mm-hmm. And so I think this next couple periods, especially this middle one, could be pretty exciting. I still, you old goaltenders, I still wonder if EL has got enough firepower to get anything by Fuska. I know that they did in the last time they played, the last of the regular season, right near the end for the overtime. I think it was 3-2.
Correct.
So they got 3 by him that we know of. And
they did that via deflections. They might need to do that again. We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, second period action coming your way 60 seconds from now. Watching it on MBR.org and listening to it on 105.5, Maine's Big Z.
From the front office staff to the medical technicians and the doctors, we're all playing on the same team. Discover Spectrum Healthcare Partners and the power of integrated specialty care.
All aboard MBR.org, the place to get all your high school and amateur sports news and information. MBR.org is in high gear with Maine high school winter sports. Go to MBR.org to chat about your favorite team. Find the latest articles, travel news, and cancellations. Or visit their all-new and very popular team pages. MBR.org has everything you want to know about high school and amateur sports in Maine. Coming in February, all the high school tournament action at your fingertips 24/7. It's high school sports heaven. All aboard MBR.org.
I've got 2 kids older than that.
Back inside the Androscoggin Bank Coliseum alongside Dave Wing, I'm Caleb Lamb. Second period time up on the boards, 15 more minutes in our middle frame to see if we can find one of these teams poking their nose out in front in the battle of the Auburn City rivals. St. Dom's and Edward Little. You know these two teams have a bit of a rivalry. Zach Pelletier, as he skates over, gives a little wave taunting the Edward Little bench after he drew the 5-minute major penalty in that first period. One of these teams move on to play Lewiston as we're back underway. Sent around to the near side boards and played up by St. Dom's, who will be going from left to right in this second frame. And the puck waffles off the boards back for Gaston Fuchsa to cover up. And let's go ahead and get a face-off in that end. One of these teams will play Lewiston. The winner of that game will go to our title game, where there's already been some movement on the south side for the fans that came early for those matchups where we saw one of the teams expected to perhaps be the winner this year after finishing runner-up last season, Falmouth. They ended up falling in the semifinals to a Biddeford Tigers team that's very good. So who knows what's going to emerge out of that side. But whoever comes through this North region is going to be very battle-tested. On the breakout through center, EL able to get that one over the blue line, but only for a split second as Zach Pelletier knocks it clear. Shot off by Thibodeau off the boards in front of the St. Dom's bench, across for Wolverton. Backhand pass didn't get through Logan Alexander, and it's sent in on goal. Fuchsa knocked it back the wrong way, but Gosselin there to pick it up and skate up the left wing side. He'll wrist in deep. It's going to be a dump and chase game here as both these teams are settling in.
Very choppy, both of them, passing nothing special and giving the puck up when they don't need to.
Ben Lane Robichaud flying into the zone. Lost it on the poke check from Jack Willett. Nice play. Carried up and out of the zone by Chassis. Hustling into the left wing. He fires. Save made. Rebound from Lewis, and he jammed it wide on his backhand as he was skidding to a stop to make sure he didn't run into the goaltender. Chassis tries to play a pass across. Stopped and then cleared out by Sturgis. This one as far as Noah Pratt. Chassis stopping in front of the EL bench looking for Lewis. Able to jam at it. 14 games this season for the sophomore. 4 goals, 6 assists. Who missed some time from injury, Jacob Lewis. Could say that for quite a few of these St. Dom's players, but they played through the adversity. Want to come up with a win here and get another crack at moving on to the state title game. From the far circle, shot from Hughes turned back to him. Behind the net, he didn't realize it was still with him on his right side. Gets it back to the point. Pratt fires, blocked in front, loose on the crease. Save off the left toe of Toussaint. It's still down. Was covered up by Audet, and he clawed it free. It must have been just outside the blue paint, or it would have been a penalty shot the other way. Ben Lane Robichaud carries in, skips around a man to the circle, fires, blocker save, as Jack Willett made him cut off his own angle. Very close to a puck being covered by a player's glove in the blue paint. Not the goaltender, you can't do that. And we've seen that turn into a penalty shot in this building before. Shot in deep and a stick got caught in the dasher and in fact went through the bench area into the seats in the first row on the St. Dom's bench. That's unlucky for them as they had to have a player go off for a change. Carried out while we've got a penalty coming up for tripping, and with 3 minutes gone in this second period, things heating up again between these two rivals. Jacob Lewis, the man, going to the box.
Well,
check that rather, Michael Silly.
We'll see if EL can capitalize on this.
Neither team made any hay with their first power play chances in the first period.
I'm guessing that Reed Chapman must have gotten a 10-minute misconduct, not a game misconduct. He's still in the box.
Hasn't been released yet, as the time would not have come to a close yet. As Mac Pelletier sends this one off the linesman just outside the zone. Did get it clear as he's wrestled with Logan Alexander. Played across for Thibodeau for EL on the left wing side. Gets to the corner, sends behind. Ben Lane Robichaud taps it, circling out in front. Landry shot off the right toe as Fuchsa kept it out, but that puck was loose in the crease for a moment. Shot clear, kept in at the left point, fired deep. Skating in after it. Trying to get to it is Ben Cassidy. Thibodeau holds off his man. Pelletier leans into him, as does Wolverton. Freshman defenseman then tied up from behind. He gets chopped at. And a little check there on his leg, but I suppose all's fair in love and war. That war being the hockey game, as it's still tied up. Killing off some good time here. 55 seconds gone in the penalty kill, and it's cleared all the way down behind Toussaint. Nice job by the freshman defenseman Wolverton to kill off about 15 extra seconds there. Through center, Winslow couldn't catch the pass cleanly. Back for Gosselin. He airmails it the length of the rink. Toussaint touches it out in front. Robichaud. He's got Hughes for company. Clears it around to Sturgis up the left wing side. He'll have to tap it back for his speedy forward. And Ben Lane Robichaud circles behind his own net.
These passes that don't connect or just off the stick are just killing it a little.
Marneau able to take that one, and he'll fire one just wide glove side. Winslow lets Ben Lane Robichaud get to that one first. For Gunnar Winslow. Takes the check from behind. Bounces back to the right point. Ben Lane Robichaud, high slot, goes across with it. Landry fires, blocked, and it's found by Lewis, who will wrist it clear with 15 seconds left. Toussaint slams the door shut there.
So really one reasonably good shot, and that's it. That was it.
It's about all you're going to get on both sides of the ice tonight on any given rush, even with the power play. Shot in by Marius Morneau, and this one ends up behind the net, stopped by Fuchsa. Back to 5-on-5 as Silly comes across to the bench area. Played long. Hughes has Chassis, fires a shot himself. Blocker save, rebound was there. Hughes sends it behind the net. Chassis can't get there ahead of Landry. Captain for Edward Little sends this one off the boards to the near side. Carried on. Cassidy racing in. Rounds Jack Willett, but the puck was at least knocked to the end boards, and the freshman gives a little bump to the alternate captain and the junior forward. Back to the point. Landry shot, redirected, kicked out. Fuchs saw it late, got the toe to it. Alexander reverses it behind. Cleared by Davis, not out of the zone. Landry fires, redirected not once but twice, and shoveled wide by Alexander. Tried to poke it in front. Fuchs covers up with that cat-like glove with 9:14 to go.
You know, you said you needed some tips. They had a couple right there in that sequence.
Looking to change the angle and try to get the goaltender moving one way, have the puck go the other, and that's pretty much the only way to beat the young man out of the Czech Republic, Gaston Fuchs, at .940 save percentage coming in. At high school hockey, it's very difficult to do.
And only 9 shots on goal from Edward Little.
And he's going to take a few seconds there to fiddle with the straps on the glove.
Well, and the officials are waving one of the replacements for St. Dom's out. Said he came in too late.
That was Mac Pelletier, the captain, who tried
and they
to
got to wave out
change.
their center out for that reason.
Yep. Lewis comes in, though, and wins the faceoff, and Wolverton will send this one around. Takes a check from Gage Doucette for his trouble. Webster able to launch this one ahead. Zach Pelletier pokes it past Campbell, but the sophomore defenseman gets there ahead of the sophomore forward.
Boy, good speed.
Campbell, good speed carrying in, splits the difference between the two D-men, gets into the corner, and then he finally comes to a stop, trying to figure out what to do with it. Knocks it ahead for Doucette, using his big frame, kicks it behind the net, pass in front, blocked off the stick and covered by Fuchsa. Morneau was poised out in front to hammer a one-timer in, but just had the shot deflected, or I should say the pass deflected, and didn't reach its intended destination. Just about midway through this hockey game, we're still waiting for the game's first goal. And Zach Pelletier heading to the bench. Another late change.
Yeah,
Bouchard is going to be sent back. They didn't get it in time.
Well, one of the players brought himself over. I don't think the coach wanted that.
Mac Pelletier
He
was
wants
set to
know
go on.
why can't he go in?
Mac Pelletier was set to go on as the center, but they already had that position. So with a short bench,
Now they got to wave out their center
Bobby
again.
Parker has had to do this, and this time they were smart and had Lewis go in there knowing he was going to get waved out. And it's won back by St. Dom's regardless. But the Saints team that rolls kind of differing lines, they don't have 3 full lines. And really the 2 lines they'll change up and do different things with. They can make it tough to get the right personnel out there sometimes, and they'll have to be paying close attention to that, because having the wrong players on the ice or having a tired group stuck out there for another shift can lead to goals. And the way this game is looking, it's going to be a tight one to the end. Gunnar Winslow scored the game winner in overtime on that deflection, had 2 goals in that 3-2 OT win, and he wins the drawback for a slap shot that Landry puts into the breadbasket for Fuchsa to hang on to. They'll do it again from the left circle. And they'll make another quick change. This time they'll bring on Webster.
Yeah, winning some faceoffs.
Winslow wins this one again. Landry will try and blast it again. Just missed blocker side. Webster trying to get to it against Campbell. Could not. Sturgis pokes to the slot area. Bounces past him. Webster just sends this one down the ice and clears it. Pelletier steals it away. Pelletier from the left. Fires. Just tipped over the top of the crossbar. Toussaint got the glove on it. And he keeps it scoreless.
He got a piece of it.
Biggest stop of the game so far. Winslow sends it up. Davis glove down, and he couldn't keep it in on the blue line. Phelan comes and knocks it back for Silly to reset. Davis playing up, looking for Pelletier. Angled off the boards. Phelan shifts through. Campbell to the far side. Dylan Campbell, long pass, finds Gunnar Winslow in stride. Charging down the left. Silly comes and puts the shoulder into him as Fuchsa covers up the long shot. 7:40 to go. 10 seconds shy of the midway point. 19-11 the shots on goal here. A good game that we've had on hand in this contest. Ben Cassidy, the junior forward, in for this draw. It's been a lot of offensive zone faceoffs for Edward Little as they've changed the momentum in their favor over these last 3 minutes or so. Can they make it pay off with a goal? Cleared to center. Campbell has it deflected again, and this time it's Hughes, takes it away from the right, fires, just put it wide to the far post. Jack Willett bounces off a big hit, puck came loose to the slot area. Chassis chips it by, he's tripped by Campbell. Penalty.
You know, that's the third time now that EL has tried to gain control of the puck, messed it up, and given St. Dom's really a tremendous chance. This one led to a penalty.
It's been Dylan Campbell a couple of times here as he gave it away to Mac Pelletier a few moments ago on that excellent save off the glove by Gavin Toussaint. Gave it to Hughes for a shot just wide and then took the penalty, trying to chase down Chassis. And right now, St. Dom's.
Oops, I'm sorry.
St. Dom's not doing a ton here, Dave, of actually being able to go and set up passes, but their strategy of pass the other team and then take the puck away from them seems to be working.
That kind of pass right there is what's killing St. Dom's. They had a chance to, they had a chance to get it out, and he tried to flip it, and it didn't go anywhere.
Long shot from the point from Wolverton was deflected wide. Jack Willett from the right point. Dangerous pass gets to Wolverton. Blasted! Left pad save! And the puck popped free in the slot area, lugged clear by Thibodeau. Wolverton absolutely uncorked a bomb from the point, and Toussaint stabbed it away. Back behind their own net, Wolverton. First we've seen of that, and now you can understand why the young man is manning the power play for this team.
Done right, that was a rocket.
Pass up the far side, Chassis. Thibodeau poked into the zone. Lewis trying to get to it. Ben Lane Robichaud able to swing past that body check coming from Mac Pelletier. Chassis tries to chase him down. Lane Robichaud hustling back. Smart play here. He saw there was no one behind him, so he'll coast to his own zone and kill some more clock. That's a good heads-up play by the young forward. 45 seconds to go in the penalty for tripping. This one sent over the blue line. Pelletier gets to it. Rounds Landry, reaching, sweeping poke check, got it free. Lewis tried to play to the front of the net. Lane Robichaud took it away again. He's got the speed. He'll just flip it in deep and head to the bench with a very successful shift completed for him. A minute and a half's worth of work, killing off time. Only 20 seconds to go as it started back up from left to right for St. Dom's. Still scoreless with 5.5 to go in the second period. Mac Pelletier risks this one around. Michael Silly will pinch in from the point. Shot past him. No icing, though, as there's only 8 seconds to go in the penalty time. Campbell will pop back onto the ice in just a few moments, and we're back to 5-on-5 as Gosselin picks it up. Nothing doing for St. Dom's there. Neither team has looked strong with the man advantage in this contest. 7 minutes worth of power play time in total as Gosselin had his stick knocked out of his hands down low. Puck shot around, took an awkward hop off the glass. Doucette shimmies it over for Aaron Perkins. He fires it in, came out in front, and Fuchs will cover up. Oh, and Doucette gave him a snow job. That's a penalty. Can't do that. And that's just a boneheaded play from Edward Little again.
Yeah, no need of that. That's a Marchand play. And
trying
they always
to
call it every
intimidate the
time.
goaltender, trying to go in and show that you're there if he bobbles it. And it's just simply a very stupid play.
I know that Chapman's out of the penalty box, but I noticed that he's sitting on the bench, and we may not see him for a bit.
Maybe in timeout enforced from his coach as well.
Yes, looks it.
So Doucette, the man who goes to the box here, the junior forward. So back to the power play goes St. Dom's, and they'll see if this one's better. Back to Silly, fires, held up high against the mask. Toussaint tracked that one the whole way. Pelletier, meanwhile, was still tied up with Ben Cassidy as those two jousted on the draw.
Yeah, I think to say these teams don't like each other is probably an understatement.
You could say.
Gonna throw that out.
They'll come across and look to make a change. Pelletier being waved back on is again that the change is too late. And Pelletier, I think, saying that there's an equipment issue, and that's why he's got to go off. It's because his elbow guard isn't good, and he's going to have to take the jersey off and try to fix that. So that will allow the change. Zach Pelletier tied up. Puck came loose to the front of the net. Webster got through. Didn't go in. Now it does. They score on the power play. Jaden Webster, row your boat and go to the net for good things to happen. 1-0 St. Dom's as he heads to the bench to celebrate.
Yeah, it just kind of laid there. Toussaint made the first stop, and it just trickled across, and nobody really got to it from EL, and he put it in.
Jaden Webster just kept the legs moving that entire time, driving to the front of the net. He just kept pushing. Toussaint was able to shift that one through his legs and wide of the goal line, but eventually it crosses, and that first goal comes with 4:43 to go in the period.
So now that penalty hurt.
Third time's the charm for a power play goal. So Jaden Webster, the man who scores, and that's his 6th of the season, puts him into a tie for third on the team in that category. Puck comes back to the near side for Pratt. He lost out on it. Cassidy takes it away as he exits his own zone. He was slashed. That one went uncalled, though. Bump given to Jack Willett down low. Logan Alexander trying to take it free. Alexander kicks it back underneath the skates. Now takes it looking to center in front. Could not. Puck bouncing away from Chassis. Thibodeau fired one wide of the post.
Oh.
Shot blocked in front there, kicked all the way down, and Landry will retrieve with just under 4 minutes remaining. A 1-0 lead for St. Thomas, the number 3 seed. As Chassis sent spiraling down as Campbell picks up the puck. The defenseman coming in. He fires and just missed a snapshot going past the post. Landry knocks one in on target, and Fuchs will eat that one up. He can play it, though, because Edward Little was going to the bench for a change.
And they had somebody offside, so I thought that was automatic. If it went to the goalie and you were still in the zone, it's offside.
Wolverton coming in over the blue line. Swings with it down low, wasn't sure where to go with it, so he'll play it around. Mac Pelletier covering for him, fires, kicked out by Toussaint's left pad. Audette lost out on it. Poke back to the point. Shot from distance, score on the redirect! Kane touched it through. Was that Wolverton who just scored? It was. How about that for a time to get your first high school goal? The freshman defenseman with a little help on the way in from his own teammate. And Gavin Toussaint undone by his own goalie, and he just shoos away his fellow teammate Alex Landry, the senior defenseman. Toussaint does not want to talk to anybody now. He is frustrated with his squad.
Yeah, they've taken some foolish penalties. They've spent an awful lot of time taking the body. And Noam Gagne is going to take a timeout and talk to his team. They're running around trying to knock people's heads off instead of playing hockey. And so far, it's really hurt them.
Well, with this timeout, we'll take it as well and be back in 30 seconds' time. 1-0 lead for St. Thomas over Edward Little, 2-0 lead for them right now with 3 minutes to go in period number 2. Back in a moment, watching it on MBR.org and listening to it on 105.5 Maine's Big Z.
For 37 years, the Bowles family has been selling Napa Auto Parts in Hancock County. And every February, they make the trip to Bangor, Portland, and Augusta to cheer on the local basketball teams. And with their new Napa Auto Parts stores in Lewiston, Auburn, Lisbon, Farmingdale, and Oxford, they have some new teams to cheer for. Like the kids out on the court, the Bowles family understands that doing business takes teamwork and dedication. Whether you're getting a belt for your sled, running a garage, or keeping your car and truck in tip-top shape, they're here to help. Visit your locally owned Napa Auto Parts in Lewiston, Auburn, Lisbon, Farmingdale, and Oxford today.
Back here at the Androscoggin Bank Coliseum with 3 minutes remaining in our second period. It's a 2-0 lead with the St. Thomas Saints, the number 3 seed, ahead of the number 2 seed, their intercity rival in Auburn, the Edward Little Red Eddies. 2-0 advantage thanks to a goal that was tipped in by Aaron Kane, the defenseman for Edward Little, the senior, accidentally touching that drive from the point from Derek Wolverton and beat his own goaltender Gavin Toussaint through his 5-hole. That's the first career high school goal for Derek Wolverton. Yes, he did get to keep the puck as Mac Pelletier, his senior captain, made sure to get that for him. And what a time to get it in. 2-0 lead seems insurmountable the way this game has been going, but there is still a lot of time to try and change the momentum. Reed Chapman trying to come up with the puck there. First shift for him since picking up a 5-minute major and a 10-minute misconduct after his checking from behind penalty back in period number 1. Sent into the offensive zone. Chapman will get to it. Jammed past him. Landry will fire in from center. Bouncing puck. Handcuffed Fuchsa. He has to cover up.
You know, sometimes that almost a saucer pass that ends up being a shot is a tough one, as you know, for a goalie. You're just not used to watching a bouncing puck like that.
Goaltenders nowadays, you're taught on any bouncing puck. They've all seen the horror videos that even NHL goaltenders befall.
Get down.
180-foot goals bouncing in on you. You just take it in your body, and then you worry about what to do with it after. Play safe rather than sorry. As a tie-up on the face-off will lead to another draw. Early movement from St. Thomas.
I'm surprised they can change.
Cassie off to the bench, off this face-off. Won by Alexander. Back to the point for Campbell. This one redirected on target. Fuchs tried to cover up. Puck was still loose, but he got the benefit of the whistle.
Well, no, Coach Gagne did say he wanted his team to tip and screen and whatever, and that's what that was. It was a tip from quite a ways out front, but, you know, as a goalie, as you know, boy, it breaks your concentration when it tips and it goes in another direction.
It's very hard to do as well because oftentimes you're committed to sliding in one direction. If that puck changes directions, you can't go the other way.
Fixing his equipment again. He's pretty good at getting St. Dom's a little break.
2:05 remaining here. Gosselin clearing this one up. Didn't get it very far. Nice move, Cassidy. Centers for Alexander. He missed it on his backhand, went between his legs. Thibodeau going to take a penalty there. That's interference as Fuchs makes the save from Campbell. Phelan got run into by Eli Thibodeau, who was looking to play the body before he touched the puck and before the St. Dom's player got a touch to it either. Minute 53 to go, and another penalty coming up.
I'm looking down at Coach Gagne. He's frustrated with his team. You know, this could be another 5-minute major.
And these are just silly penalties as well that are being taken. That's the biggest problem. There's a couple of Edward Little fans who don't sound too happy with
they're going to call
things,
interference, 2 minutes.
It was a clear-cut interference minor.
Oh, yeah.
The
No
snow
question about
job
that.
on Gaston Fuchs that led to the first goal by Webster was an easy penalty to call, and the hitting from behind was a silly one to take.
Yeah,
It's those boneheaded plays
those
that
are not mistakes by the officials. Those were routine calls.
Shot on the backhand, score off the draw. Jacob Lewis just flips one past the blocker of True Saint. It took 4 seconds of power play time.
This is your worst nightmare for a team that has been so good to be just playing themselves right out of this game. Now that's not to say they can't come back, but they have just made foolish mistakes this whole game.
So this one comes at the 13-12 mark, and it's been 3 goals in a span of 2 minutes and 55 seconds for St. Dom's.
And you know, hockey's not a sport where you can, like basketball, you could sit somebody down because there's plenty of chance to substitute and whatever. In hockey, everybody has to play. I mean, you got to skate probably 3 lines. You could get away with 2, but boy, they're going to be pooped at the end of that game. So
very tough task this whole season for St. Dom's, just based on the fact that they don't choose to play so few players. They just don't have that deep of a roster.
No, that's right.
And in this war of attrition, better to have a few goals to the good when you get to the late stages of the game. They've picked up 3 in the final 5 minutes and change of this second period. It's really turned this game script on its head. Played across here. Wolverton will get to it in his own zone. Rifles it off the glass. Kept in, though, by Morneau. Sends this one around in behind. Doucette gets to it. Willette staying with him. Pins him against the board so Pelletier can take it. He'll drive it around. Power play goal by Jacob Lewis. His 5th of the season has his team up and ahead with a 3-0 lead as we approach the final moments. 48 seconds to go as it's tapped back to Landry in his own end. Coming through center. Gains center ice and over the blue line here. Landry tied up. Puck loose. Shot and deflected behind the net where Silly will get to it. Sturgis ties him up in the corner. Edward Little has played some good hockey at times here, but too many mental mistakes has given St. Dom's almost a double edge in shots, 25-14, and they have capitalized on those more scoring chances to fire a couple of goals in these last few minutes. Back to his own zone, Audette, as 10 seconds tick off here in the second period. They'll just get it up for Winslow, and that does it for our second period of play. St. Dom's, a 3-0 lead as they go to the intermission. And the Saints on the verge of moving on to the regional final. Dave, this one was something that got away a little bit from Edward Little. They got to go to the locker room and take a good, long, hard look at themselves because they've got 15 minutes.
They're going to get a tongue lashing. I can guarantee you that from Norm.
try to find something to change here. And with that man skating off the ice, Gaston Fuchsa, the man staring him down on the other end, it's going to be a very difficult task. We'll take a break. When we come back in about 4 minutes' time, we'll break down the first period intermission for you and get you set for our final 15 in the second of our doubleheader games, the Battle of Auburn City. So far, it's the St. Thomas Saints on top, 3-0 after 2. You're watching on MBR.org and listening to it on 105.5 Maine's Big Z.
From the front office staff to the medical technicians and the doctors, we're all playing on the same team. Discover Spectrum Healthcare Partners and the power of integrated specialty care.
Full Court Press is on your team. Full Court Press is more than just a copy shop. Some of their print services include color copies, black and white copies, posters, bindings, calendars, cards, business cards, and every door direct mail. They're located at 855 Main Street in Westbrook. Call them today at 207-464-0002 or request an estimate, place an order, and much more on their website at fullcourtpress.biz. That's fullcourtpress.biz. When you need a copy shop to bring the heat, it's time to hire Full Court Press.
Look, I get it. We all got snowed in last week. You're just now getting shoveled out. And when somebody mentions something to you about summer camps, your only thought is, can I go to it right now so that I don't have to deal with the snow anymore? Totally get that. However, this February vacation week, if you're home with your kids, there is one thing that you're going to remember. If you don't have something for your kids to do, you're going to be in for a long summer. Registration is now open for University of Southern Maine's summer camps. They've got basketball, they've got soccer, they've got ice hockey, and they have a ton more. I haven't even scratched the surface on this. Find the registration links now. Go to usm.maine.edu. That's usm.maine.edu and search summer camps. Or find the links right now at mbr.org. And maybe get them in shape for some of these summer camps by letting them shovel off the roof or something like that. Or the deck. Or the car. Or maybe the big wheel. Either way. University of Southern Maine summer camps, where kids should spend the summer.
Winter People Athletics creates custom athletic apparel, including team uniforms and spirit wear. They support team sports programs by offering a variety of clothing and other merchandise which can be personalized with team logos, player numbers, and names, and various other options. They can also provide innovative custom screen printing and embroidered apparel to create fun and engaging fan and booster items to sell for your team fundraising efforts. Call Steve Haynes, Athletic Apparel Consultant, at 207-869-6019 or online at winterpeople.com.
Falmouth Orthopedic Center, Central Maine Orthopedics, OA Centers for Orthopedics, all playing on the same team. Maine's top orthopedic practices have joined forces for more efficient and affordable orthopedic care. Introducing Spectrum Orthopedics.
All aboard MBR.org, the place to get all your high school and amateur sports news and information. MBR.org is in high gear with Maine high school winter sports. Go to MBR.org to chat about your favorite team. Find the latest articles, travel news, and cancellations, or visit their all-new and very popular team pages. MBR.org has everything you want to know about high school and amateur sports in Maine. Coming in February, all the high school tournament action at your fingertips 24/7. It's high school sports heaven. All aboard MBR.org.
Back inside the Androscoggin Bank Coliseum, I'm Caleb Lamb. To my right sits Dave Wing, and we are enjoying what's so far been a fun evening of ice hockey. We've already seen the #1 seed out of Class A North boys regional action The Lewiston Blue Devils come away with a 5-2 victory over the number 4 seed, the Bangor Rams. They've moved on to play the winner of this contest, and after 2 periods of play, it's looking like their longtime rival, the St. Thomas Saints, are going to join them in the party to see who goes to the state championship game. A 3-0 lead for St. Thomas, but this one all happened in the final 5 minutes and 17 seconds of the second period. A power play goal from Jaden Webster on an individual effort. Then a Derek Wolverton shot that was redirected by an Edward Little defenseman in, followed by another power play goal off Jacob Lewis's backhander. Those coming within the span of 2 minutes and 55 seconds. And David just flipped this game on its head. This has now become something that could turn into a blowout rather than what it was, which was a 0-0 hard-fought, grinded-out style game for the first 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, it's going to be hard enough to beat Gaston Fuchs anyway, but to put yourself in a hole down 3-0 with foolish mistakes. I always feel, and I'm not calling out anybody in particular, but I always feel the penalties that I've seen them take tonight are, so I call them selfish penalties, having been a youth hockey coach, midgets and whatever. It's kind of like, I can be a tough guy, I can, look at me, I can board somebody because this is a rival game. It doesn't do you any good. I used to say checking should be for one reason and one reason only, to gain the puck. That's all. To use your body to move somebody so that you can get the puck, not to knock them on their back, not to knock them into the bench or onto the boards, and that's what we've seen. We've seen one checking but behind. The other one could have been. They called it interference. They had a little officials meeting. I think they hesitated calling a second checking from behind, which is a 5-minute major and a 10-minute misconduct for the player. But it could have been. So I think that EL has not played the way that we would have expected them to play. And St. Dom's has held their own. 25-14, they're ahead in shots on goal. And really, some of those 14 shots for EL were, like you said, ones where they fired it down the puck to clear it and the goalie had to play it. I wouldn't have called them great shots on goal. So this has not been what we expected it to be. It was a grinded out, like you said, and all of a sudden it exploded because EL put themselves in the penalty box.
St. Dom's, who's been in that situation before, taking plenty of penalties. They're playing without their leading goal scorer for the remainder of this season, without Will Fletcher, their sophomore. They've missed their captain, Mac Pelletier, for stretches of this season due to suspension. So really, this is a team that's been in these shoes before, and they've perhaps, at least learning from their mistakes, didn't take a 5-minute major, and they're seeing Edward Little pay for those same things that they had to deal with earlier on in the year. Gaston Fuchs not challenged that much just because Edward Little spent so much time having to clear the puck away. They've been on the penalty kill 4 different times, including that 5-minute major. And St. Dom's, it took them a while, but all they were going to need was a couple to put in the back of the net, and they should just be able to see this out through the final 15 minutes.
The thing with having a young team, you know, you can complain about them because they don't have the experience, but what they also don't have is a bunch of bad habits. You've got them all together, they're all about the same age, teach them what you want them to do and stick to it so that you don't get yourself in a jam. I said through the years, I think that's one of the reasons St. Dom's beat Lewiston through the years, because Lewiston took penalties. And now they're not doing that as much as we used to see. And I think that's one of the reasons they've been, other than pure talent, why Lewiston's been so successful. You know, this period, I mean, it's 15 minutes. You never know that they can get, if Yale can get one early, you never know what the outcome of this game would be.
Oh, we just saw a team put up 3 goals in 3 minutes.
3 goals in 3 minutes, so you just don't know. I think it's going to be hard for them against Gaston Fuchs, but, you know, stranger things have happened, and they certainly have the ability, but they really haven't mounted much of an offense tonight. It seems to me that they've been all discombobulated. The passes haven't connected, and instead of passing it to somebody, they've chipped at places that didn't benefit them. It's been a tough night for them, and I'm fully expecting that at any time they could turn this around, because we've seen them do that. We've seen them play up and down, speed through the center ice from blue line to blue line, and taking advantage of a loose puck and whatever. We just have not seen that tonight. We haven't seen their speed in any way tonight. So It's going to be an interesting third period, and like I say, I think if EL gets in one early, I think it'll fire their crowd up, it'll fire the kids up, and then you never know what's going to happen after that.
Well, we will take a break. When we come back about 90 seconds from now, we're going to have the third period to find out how this one's going to end. St. Tom's in the driver's seat, 3-0 lead. Stay tuned for the conclusion next. You're watching it on MBR.org and listening to it. 105.5 Maine's Big Z.
From the front office staff to the medical technicians and the doctors, we're all playing on the same team. Discover Spectrum Healthcare Partners and the power of integrated specialty care.
For 37 years, the Bowles family has been selling Napa Auto Parts in Hancock County, and every February they make the trip to Bangor, Portland, and Augusta to cheer on the local basketball teams. And with their new Napa Auto Parts stores in Lewiston, Auburn, Lisbon, Farmingdale, and Oxford, they have some new teams to cheer for. Like the kids out on the court, the Bowles family understands that doing business takes teamwork and dedication. Whether you're getting a belt for your sled, running a garage, or keeping your car and truck in tip-top shape, they're here to help. Visit your locally owned Napa Auto Parts in Lewiston, Auburn, Lisbon, Farmingdale, and Oxford today. Full Court Press is on your team. Full Court Press is more than just a coffee shop. Some of their print services include color copies, black and white copies, posters, bindings, calendars, cards, business cards, and every door direct mail. They're located at 855 Main Street in Westbrook. Call them today at 207-464-0002 or request an estimate, place an order, and much more on their website at fullcourtpress.biz. That's fullcourtpress.biz. When you need a copy shop to bring the heat, it's time to hire Full Court Press.
Back inside the Androscoggin Bank Coliseum, I'm Caleb Lamb. Dave Wing joining me for this conclusion to our doubleheader in our boys Class A North Regional Hockey Semifinals. Lewiston has moved on. One of these two teams going to join them at the end of this period. St. Tom's with a 3-0 lead thanks to 3 late goals in that second period. Saints in the black and white. The maroon jerseys, the Edward Little Red Eddies, who have a big task ahead of them trying to find 3 goals against Gaston Fuchs. I'm not sure if any team has done that in a single period all season long against one of the best goaltenders in Maine high school hockey. Mac Pelletier into the zone. Shimmies in front, and that one just lost by Webster, who scored what would be the game winner right now. Pelletier cranks one too high over the boards. This one fired in, toe save. Pelletier tried to swing it back for a forehand shot. Missed that, and Davis put it off a skate wide into the corner.
The ice looks wet to me.
Hasn't frozen for certain.
No, hasn't. You can see all the lights.
This one comes through, just back to the point, out of the reach of Davis. He'll have to recover at center. Be on the lookout for some of those dead spots when the ice isn't frozen. Pelletier got only the toe on that dump-in attempt, and he gives a solid jolt to Logan Alexander. This one comes in free. Cassidy to the slot. He's tied up by Willett. That's a penalty. Need a knee contact, and Cassidy looks a little bit worse for wear as he went sliding to the corner. Dominic Chassie wanted to chat about it with the referee, but
not a penalty shot, but a good call by the officials.
It's a smart play by Cassidy as well. Team
sure.
leader in points with 25, most of those from the 17 assists he collected this season. Driving right at the defenseman, put him to a decision, and make him do something. And in this case, gave him a penalty.
This is the break that EL needed. They need a goal right off, and here we go.
Landry cranks one. That one got the glass just past the blocker side.
I don't think Fuchs saw it either. There were people in front of him.
And they've set the big man in front, or at least one of them, Marius Morneau, who is setting the screen in front right now, being watched by Wolverton. Tap back from Winslow. He's another big body. They've got Sturgis out there as well. Landry fires a shot blocked, and will float this one clear. Dominic Chassie, 30 seconds gone in his penalty. Winslow dumped it in. So you can see what the idea is here from Norm Gagne to try and change things up. Put the big bodies to the front of that, multiple screens if need be, and just try to blast one past this junior goaltender. Turned over though, and a chance for Hughes shorthanded. Against Landry, he'll pull the trigger. Oh, it was lost by Toussaint. It was behind him, and that let out a shriek from all the fans.
You could hear the fans. They were, yikes. It went right behind him, and he didn't see it. Fortunately, his defenseman came through and scooped it up.
Alexander looking for the drop pass. Lewis read the course and took it away. Back for Hughes, who was nearly the recipient of the most unlikely goal that we've seen in a long time on that dump in. He won't get another chance to try it. Lugged out. Campbell with speed. 40 seconds to go in the power play time. Nice move by Cassidy. Cut in. Left his stick up high. Got away with that one. Kept in. Audette puts it across just out of the reach of Thibodeau. Lifts the stick of Silly. Pelletier again didn't get good contact on the clear. And Campbell dumps it back to center. There was a touch, though, from Cassidy. That's offside.
Again, just not timely passing. I think take a shot there and look for the rebound. Instead, he tried to pass it diagonally across, and it didn't connect. St. Dom's gets a breakout. Just hasn't gone EL's way tonight.
And it's those little plays that are going to haunt them if they look back on this one. It ends up being a loss, just knowing that really they had a couple of looks and just didn't put the shots on target, or they missed passes. Campbell wires one in. Knocked aside by Winslow, but he couldn't link up with anybody. Campbell back at the point. Only 10 seconds to go in the power play time. Shoots from distance wide. This one angled to the boards. Sturgis looking back to the point. Campbell from the left side. Puts it across. Audette fires. Blocker save. Another good one as we are back to 5-on-5. That should be icing.
Oh, waved it off.
Ooh, they might have thought that the penalty time was coming off as he had cleared it, but it was a couple seconds difference. Back to 5-on-5 here. Campbell missed the puck. Winslow tried to knock it across in the direction of Sturgis. Winslow in on the forecheck. Knocked in. Lewis picks that one up behind. He goes to the backhand. No room for a shot there. Nice job by Campbell. Thrown through the slot area. Zach Pelletier knocks it back to the point. Pratt playing it back for Pelletier. Fires one up high, and Toussaint will knock that one in, and Morneau just sent a cross again to Pelletier in off the crossbar. And I think that ought to be a penalty.
Should have been. You know, what is he saying? That somebody was in my crease? Here he comes. Is he going to call it? No, he's not.
Morneau just going to the bench area.
He's going to talk to the other official. What do you think?
That's one of those that, again, stupid.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so the guy's in the crease. He wasn't bothering the goaltender, and he went in and rammed him up against the thing. If St. Dom's, if they complained, they'd be right. I think that was a penalty.
They've got the 3-0 lead. They won't make an issue of it. But again, that's Edward Little being undisciplined, and that is what has cost them the lead so far tonight. 3-0 advantage. This one shimmied through to Webster at center ice. Big hit coming his way, and he stands up the challenge from Reed Chapman. And Chapman, less so than anybody, ought to be taking big hits after the huge penalty that he took that cost his team a lot of momentum in that first period. Through center.
I think that hit hurt him.
Webster is back to the bench. He looked a little shaken up as he tried to get in there. Pratt found by Chapman from behind. Knocked back to Ben Lane Robichaud. Loose puck. Lewis will block this one off on the backhand. Zach Pelletier skating to it, but it's too far. Icing with 10:40 to go. So a good start to this period. Edward Little got the power play, but just not able to make anything happen. They've had a couple of shots on against Fuchsa, who goes for a little skate down on the right-hand side of our broadcast position. And so far, Edward Little just hasn't gotten enough chances. They're starting to run out of time.
They just haven't generated anything. And, you know, we said they need to get one early. It's not too late to get that first one.
Off the draw, one back from Cassidy to Campbell. Pulls the trigger. Shot was low. Sticked away to the corner. Alexander against Pelletier. He's one of the best agitators, you could say. He does have a habit of getting under the skin of other teams. Cassidy forced this one away from Silly. Makes him a big target for abuse as the puck's loose at the goal line. Picked up by Phelan. Tried to clear it, was knocked down. Nice job by Thibodeau to keep in it. Silly lost his stick. Cassidy fires. Shoulder save. Fuchsa bails his team out again.
He had the right idea, up high, and almost beat him.
Silly still without a stick, and he got held. Or no, is it a hold coming against him instead on the other side for the clutch and grab? It is. Didn't see where he might have gotten a hold of a jersey, but it's a penalty going against him with 10:05 to go.
Well, and I think this is the kind of break that EL, and they had one already. This could be another big break for them if they could get a goal. We haven't seen them generate much of anything, though, so far.
Again, they'll go with that big body lineup in front. They'll knock it back to the point. Bentley and Robichaud and Landry are there. Robichaud fires, blocked in front by Lewis, and this one will go all the way down. 9:50 remaining in this third period. Landry sends to the far side. Deflected. Wolverton cranks this one back out. Just missed Lewis, though, and that will allow Landry, well, it would have allowed him to skate and across, except Zach Pelletier intervened with the stick. Lane Robichaud gathering speed. Flies into the zone. Down the middle. Fires. Knocked off the defenseman in front of him, and it's found by Pelletier after it hopped over the backhand of Winslow. Didn't get it clear, though, St. Dom's. Gosselin takes care of that as he sends it direct airmail express all the way down. Landry. Then Lane Robichaud through center. Nice move. That's across the blue line. He'll peel off with it. Sends it down behind the net. Cassidy. Circles to the slot area. 50 seconds remaining in power play time. Fires. Blocked right back to him. Gosselin trying to intervene. Poked it through the legs of Cassidy, who hog ties him. Loose at the side of the net. Morneau back to the point. Campbell fires. Left pad save. Fuchs able to just see it through the legs in front of him. Couple of players tied up there and grabbing a hold of the stick. That should be a penalty on Lewis. It is. Oh, and Thibodeau meanwhile scores, but the whistle had already gone.
Wow.
Thibodeau's going to be upset. He fired it off the side of the mask from Fuchs, but the whistle had clearly gone about 5 seconds before that, so no way that one is going to count.
Going to put him in the box.
Oh, my.
I didn't see what for.
Well, that looked
Yelling
like
at the
it
official?
should have been a penalty against St. Dom's
Well, I
because
think
Lewis got away with one.
I think it was, though. Isn't Gilly in there?
No, so still serving his penalty with 30 seconds remaining of the time.
Sorry.
But more
Wow. Holding the stick, that was unbelievable. I can't believe they missed that. You and I are looking at it saying, oh, my God, he's got a hold of his stick.
Jacob Lewis put it in the crick of his arm.
Yeah, so they're going to say what, that he hooked him? Wow.
It looked like it was the boarding call for smashing the player up against the boards in the process, but trying to get the stick free, that is going to be a frustrating one. St. Dom's should be down 5-on-3, a little unsportsmanlike, and they will go 4-on-4 before having an abbreviated power play of their own. 8:17 remaining. This one carried through into the zone. Chassis trying to drive down the middle. He's upended hard behind the bench, and he's now clutching his side.
Again, remember he got hurt early in the year against Lewiston.
Slowly back to his feet, and he's going to have to skate off injured.
I'll tell you, we haven't seen any change from Edward Little. That was behind the play. Could have been interference.
Still finishing their checks, still wanting to play that physical style.
I have no problem with physical, you know me, but I think there's a difference between physical and
over the line.
Over the line, and EL has gone over the line. It's cost them dearly tonight.
8:05 to go here in period number 3. 3-0 lead for St. Dom's. And now a power play of 1.5 minutes for St. Dom's still remaining after that perhaps penalty that should not have been called, certainly should not have been called against Morneau as he was having his stick tied up in the process. And
you know, I've seen players let go of this stick so it's stuck in the guy's arm, but then you never know what the official is going to see, you know, that it was stuck and so on.
Jack Willett fires from distance, blocked in the slot area, wristed clear. Wolverton kept it in, just tiptoeing the blue line. Zach Pelletier. Campbell, knocked back to Wolverton. He'll put it across. Here's Willett, fires, save made, rebound. Oh, somehow went wide. Toussaint might have got a touch on it.
I think he must have because it was wide open.
Jacob Lewis thought he had his second there. 35 seconds to go in the penalty to Morneau. Wolverton fires, angle to the corner. Touch back to the point. Off the backhand of Wolverton, left the puck loose. Sturgis trying to clear, could not as Mac Pelletier circled back for it. Leaves for Wolverton at the point. His pass deflected. Pelletier tried to drop it back to him, turned it over. Short-handed breakaway. Ben Lane Robichaud down the middle to the forehand, backhand. Couldn't get the shot away. Fuchs stabbed with the poke check, forced Ben Lane Robichaud around him, and he ran out of real estate. Was already behind the goal line. Back to 5-on-5 hockey with 6.5 to go in the third period. big miss, and Zach Pelletier gets dumped after dumping it in. Through center. Gosselin not going to win that race to the puck as Cassidy beats him to it in the corner. Those two fighting each other off. Winslow. Chassis starts it ahead. Here's Hughes. Pokes it past his man. He's got Davis to the front of the net. Centered it off the side of the net. It got through. Gosselin will send it around behind. Here's Hughes. Big hit from Landry. Gives him a little extra behind the net. Edward Little not looking like they're going to have enough time to come back in this contest, but they're certainly going to get their pound of flesh. Thibodeau dumps it in softly. Fuchsa will have to play it, no icing. Smart play there from Thibodeau as Hughes plays it off the boards to himself. Through center, he dumps it in deep and will peel off for the line change. Chassis in after it. Here's Chapman. Audette, long pass, looking for Doucette. The man whose penalty for the snow job of skidding to a stop and spraying the face of Gaston Fuchs started the whole scoring spree for St. Dom's back in the second period. And he lowers the boom with a big hit there, I believe, on Mac Pelletier, who's down. Officials only finally noticing it. It's Doucette who put the shoulder in. And Pelletier back gingerly to his feet. Edward Little fans letting them hear it. And of course, they're not going to win any plaudits for making fun of a high school student. Face-off will come at the right wing circle here with 5:02 to go. Silly will circle behind his own net. Dumps this one off the glass to center ice. Dylan Campbell. Pass broken up by Phelan. Toussaint can't get to it. Phelan trying to kill some more clock down low. Reaching for it, Lewis pops into the air. Taken out and ahead. Keegan Rodrigue stops, throws this one through, and on goal it comes, and covered by Fuchsa. Face-off will be at the right wing circle here with 4:35 to go. Edward Little making a dent in the shots on goal, only trailing in that department 29-20.
Yeah, running out of time, really, and not a lot of quality shots.
Willette.
The one that went in the net would have been nice, but was called off because of a penalty.
This one dumped in. Found by Chapman. Plays up the boards. Webster jammed away from him. Pouchard angles this one past his man. Chapman hit from behind again. And Reed Chapman, lucky that he is still in this contest and hasn't been sent packing to the locker room. Back to the point for Pratt. Pelletier will dump it in. Landry skating up from his own goal line. He'll swing it out to the left, trying to gain center ice. Didn't quite get there to dump it in, but they'll call it icing now a little bit belatedly. 3:50 remaining in our third period. And not much time to try and score 3 goals. We'll see if Edward Little decides to pull the goaltender if they try to go after it in the survive and advance, lose and you're out state championship tournament.
When it's one and done, you might as well pull them early. I mean, another goal isn't going to hurt you. You need to get a couple right away.
Off the face-off here. One back to the point. Gosselin chopped at it. This one knocked away by Thibodeau. He's got a man with him, Davis. Nice job tying him up, and Thibodeau hooked him with the back of his skate on the way down. Delayed offside as he had to hustle back onside after trying to trip up the St. Dom's defenseman. Long pass for Hughes, down the right wing boards, looks across, knocks it for Lewis, one-on-one, save Toussaint, he covers. Huge save there. With time running out, that one would have sealed it.
Puck popped right out in front and all alone for an easy shot, and Toussaint came up big.
Heads up play from Hughes there. He had the shot shorthanded a couple of minutes ago, and now from the right wing boards, elected to make the pass across. Just had that peek, saw that Lewis was alone in space, and just knew he had to float it to the slot area. Off the draw. Angled back for Phelan. Knocked out of the zone. Gosselin from center ice will fire this one in. Then when ricochets out in front, Campbell will get to it. Doucette through center. Davis in front of the bench area there. Lean for it. This one hit in on target, and Fuchsa will stop it off to the side for Gosselin. Delayed offside. Doucette hustling back in on the forecheck. Long pass through center. Davis will slow things down. Long pass angled ahead. And nice job by Hughes to come up with it. Trying to make a change. And a penalty as hauling down the man from behind was Matthew Fletcher, who tied up the stick. Should be a hook. And a 2-minute penalty coming with only 2:45 remaining. We'll see if Toussaint goes to the bench to make it a 6-on-4 instead. Hasn't been too many shifts tonight for Matthew Fletcher, the freshman. He missed a lot of the season with a broken wrist, but has hopped out onto the ice for another shift here and has immediately gone to the penalty box.
Is that a second penalty?
I think that's just the first one we've seen from him. Silly picked one up earlier in this period, number 19 in black and white, but Fletcher had only just stepped on the ice to replace Phelan as the puck came in his vicinity.
I guess not. I guess I expected, like you did, that Norm might pull his goalie.
They leave Toussaint in as this one's cleared. A rolling puck that will drift down and
that would have been a goal.
Target.
That would have been a goal.
That puck was magnetized to the back of the EL net. Taken through center. Cassidy ran into his own man. Alexander got it. Then Lane Robichaud puts it across. Nice move by Thibodeau. Trying to force it past Pelletier, but cleared all the way down again. Robichaud will take behind his zone net, picking up speed. He can really fly when he gets those legs moving. Good skating as he comes up ice. He'll carry in, trying to drive around Wolverton. Beats him, circling behind the net. Having a look up. Down to 2 minutes remaining in the hockey game. 1:10 to go in the power play time. Winslow played it through the crease, came back in front off the side of that from that blast from Thibodeau. Cleared all the way down. Campbell back for it.
So again, not a bad shot on goal, but a really not a quality.
Not the kind of clear-cut scoring chance that the Red Eddie's looking for here. Down 3-0, 90 ticks on the clock. This one played up. Campbell at the right point. He'll look across. Then Lane Robichaud from the slot. Low shot, just missed the post. Winslow gets to it. Goes back to the point for Campbell. Plays across. Lane Robichaud fires, blocked in front. Campbell gets it back. His shot blocked by Pelletier. Setting up a wall in front of his goaltender. Final 60 seconds coming off the clock here. 15 seconds of power play time left. Shot stopped, and Fuchsa did not know where that one had bounced to. Well, the Red Eddie's happy to just play this one out. They've left Gavin Toussaint in. A 3-0 hole viewed to be too big of a deficit for Norm Gagne. Long shot did take a touch, but it was from the wrong side of center. Icing with 40.7 seconds to go, and the St. Dom Saints are a minute away from moving on. They will have another crack at the Lewiston Blue Devils.
Yeah, going to advance. And I'll tell you, Fuchsa gives them a great opportunity to upset somebody, because if he's on, which most of the time he is, although they lost 8 games this year.
How many times have we seen at hockey of any level a hot goaltender be what decides who wins a championship?
That's the Bruins.
They've ridden Tim Thomas in the past. Gotten good playoff runs out of Tuukka Rask.
Well,
St. Dom Saints will be looking to make things happen here.
And they lost to the Canadiens with a rookie goaltender.
Just lost over the blue line, and a chance for Alexander to go for a skate up ice. Cutting in, rounds his man to the forehand, save made, and Gosselin found the rebound. Got it out to center. Final 10 seconds ticking off. Landry's just going to dump this one in. Fuchsa stops it there, and the celebration can begin. Oh, and a little touch to the back of the skate from Thibodeau. Not going to matter. Fuchsa climbs atop his net. He pitches a shutout for Fuchsa, his 4th of the season, as he, like a maestro, directs the crowd to bring their applause to the boys in black and white. St. Dom's, the number 3 seed, knocks off their Auburn City rival, the number 2 Edward Little Red Eddies, to move on to play Lewiston in the regional final later next week.
Yeah, I don't think there weren't very many positive things, although I thought Toussaint didn't play that badly. He was a couple things came up during the game that he really didn't have much shot at, and I thought his team didn't help him much. They went in the penalty box way too much.
It's a good season for Norm Gagne's squad in a rebuilding year. His team finishes 11-7-1 on the season, and they showed that they are going to be still a team to be dealt with out of the North region. And they will come back reloaded with another year of experience on the legs of this young squad.
You know, one of the things that I really liked during the first game and going through the line, both those teams actually shook hands. I really like that. I think this is a waste of time otherwise. To go through and just tap, tap, tap all the way through doesn't do anything for me. I want you to shake somebody's hand, you know, so that they know that you realized it was a good game and so on. And I saw that from Lewiston tonight, interestingly enough. I'm sure it's easier to do when you win, but still, I think they've been taught that.
Well, we'll come back and wrap this one up to put a bow on the coverage of our doubleheader in just a moment. Stick with us. We'll give you the recap of both games here and get you set for the regional final coming up next week when we return. You're watching coverage of the Maine Principals Association Boys Class A Ice Hockey Tournament on MBR.org and listening to it on 105.5 Maine's Big Z.
From the front office staff to the medical technicians and the doctors, we're all playing on the same team. Discover Spectrum Healthcare Partners and the power of integrated specialty care.
All aboard MBR.org, the place to get all your high school and amateur sports news and information. MBR.org is in high gear with Maine high school winter sports. Go to MBR.org to chat about your favorite team. Find the latest articles, travel news, and cancellations. Or visit their all-new and very popular team pages. MBR.org has everything you want to know about high school and amateur sports in Maine. Coming in February, all the high school tournament action at your fingertips 24/7. It's high school sports heaven. All aboard MBR.org.
Winter People Athletics creates custom athletic apparel, including team uniforms and spirit wear. They support team sports programs by offering a variety of clothing and other merchandise which can be personalized with team logos, player numbers and names, and various other options. They can also provide innovative custom screen printing and embroidered apparel to create fun and engaging fan and booster items to sell for your team fundraising efforts. Call Steve Haynes, athletic apparel consultant, at 207-869-6019 or online at winterpeople.com. Full Court Press is on your team. Full Court Press is more than just a coffee shop. Some of their print services include color copies, black and white copies, posters, bindings, calendars, cards, business cards, and every door direct mail. They're located at 855 Main Street in Westbrook. Call them today at 207-464-0002 or request an estimate, place an order, and much more on their website at fullcourtpress.biz. That's full.
Wrapping up coverage here inside the Androscoggin Bank Coliseum alongside Dave Wing. I'm Caleb Lamb. 2 games down. We know what our regional final on the north side of Class A boys ice hockey will look like. It's the Lewiston Blue Devils, as most people would have expected, the #1 seed and the 2-time defending state champ, who will take on their longtime nemesis, the St. Dom's Saints, the #3 seed, after St. Dom's a 3-0 victory over Edward Little. We'll recap the scoring for you. It all happened in the second period. A scoreless first that saw a 5-minute major penalty from Edward Little, and that was the sign of things to come for this Edward Little squad, as they spent a lot of time in the penalty box sitting down and playing shorthanded. In the second period, after having a pretty big shots on goal advantage in the first of 14-5, it still took until the final 5:17 before a goal was popped in. 10:17, I should say, was the time of the goal that Jaden Webster scored on the power play tally. Just a nice individual effort it was, Dave, as he drove to the net, put a puck through the legs of Toussaint. It ricocheted wide, still got there, and threw a backhand shot across the goal line that eventually went in.
Yeah, you know, he hustled everybody and got the puck and backhanded it in. So you can give him a lot of pop-ups for really hustling and making it work.
And when you're going to, get a first goal as a high school player, why not get that in the state playoffs? That's what Derek Wolverton did, as he had a couple of good chances to shoot, but it was one shot that probably should not have gone in that counted for him. It was redirected off the stick of Aaron Kane, the senior defenseman, through the legs of Toussaint, and a 2-0 lead with a goal coming with 2:59 to go in the period. And then just more than a minute later, Jacob Lewis on another penalty from Edward Little. The penalties that they were taking, not the kind that are going to have Norm Gagne be very happy after he looks back on this one. A power play goal on the backhand as he just popped one over the shoulder of Toussaint only 4 seconds into the time, right off the draw. 2 power play goals, 3 goals total in a span of less than 3 minutes. And that had the St. Dom Saints out in front, and they were not going to be caught. Third period, where Edward Little had a couple of looks. They had a goal that went in, albeit several seconds after a whistle for a penalty that was called against them. Probably should not have been, after the player that was penalized had his stick held by a St. Dom's player. But Edward Little lost their cool a little bit there as that game came to a close. A lot of bad penalties, a lot of hits from behind, taking their frustration out. Just a lot of unsportsman penalties, but those are the types of things that happen from time to time when you get two rivals that don't really like each other.
Yeah, honestly, to be very blunt, I think there could have been 2 more boardings and checking from behind.
Yep.
Both of us said, whoa, that's a penalty, and then nothing. I think that's too bad. I think they've had a quality season. They're a good bunch of kids, and they didn't have it tonight. They lost their cool, and I don't know if it's the rival game or if they're so excited about being in the playoffs. You can attribute it to a bunch of things, but when it's all said and done, you can only be responsible for yourself. And they didn't do that tonight. And St. Dom's took advantage of it. I didn't think they necessarily outskated EL, but I think that they stayed out of the penalty box. They made the plays that they needed to make. And when it's all said and done, they came away with a win. And that's what you're here for.
So they will move on, and they'll have a crack to go to the state title game, where we're still not sure who they're going to play out of the South. It's still up for grabs, and picture very much looking fuzzier after Biddeford came away with an overtime win over Falmouth. The Yachtsmen were a favorite to advance on that side. And St. Dom's will go against the Lewiston team that they stuck with in one of the contests, a 3-1 loss that they suffered at the hands of the Blue Devils earlier on in the season. St. Dom's team that's had kind of an up-and-down year. They only lost 3-2 at their home ice, so Gaston Fuchsa good enough to give them a fighting chance. If they can get a few goals tonight like they did from, power plays or just from knocking things in on lucky bounce, that might be the difference when all's said and done. But someone's going to have to snatch the crown off Lewiston's head. They're not going to make it easy.
Well, I think they're not going to make it easy. They're a well-schooled team, and they've got speed. I think the difference tonight was EL had made some nice plays. I don't think they have quite the speed that they're going to need in the future, and certainly not the speed that Lewiston has. That's one of the things that they've got some guys in Alec Robert and Frechette and whatever that can skate by anybody, and you put that with 2 guys that are seniors that know what to do with a puck, and you better play some defense. So that should be a good one. It'll be sometime middle next week. I'm expecting that our stations will cover that game, and should be a good one.
Looking forward to that. Thanks for joining me, as always, for these two. Your final scores in both games for the final time. Lewiston in the first game of our doubleheader, a 5-2 win over Bangor to advance. St. Dom's a 3-0 shutout of their rivals, the Edward Little Red Eddies, to move on to play those Blue Devils next week. For my broadcast partner, Dave Wing, I'm Caleb Lamb, and for our producers, the wonderful Alex and Tyler, I'm Caleb Lamb signing off, saying thanks for joining us. You've been watching coverage of the Maine Principals Association Class A North Regional Playoffs in boys ice hockey here on MBR.org and listening to it on 105.5 Maine's Big Z.